It has never been a better time to be a World of Darkness fan. We got 4 new games upcoming and a line of miniatures. So let's get into it. Swan Song, scheduled for 2021 release by Big Bad Studios. The devs behind a telltale-like RPG, The Council, are set to make a new game, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. It's going to include 3 different playable vampires across 5 total episodes, and similarly to their previous game, The Council, it's going to include RPG elements like skills and upgrades. So if you think of The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us, like that framework, but sort of expanded upon. Now the previous game, The Council, had a lot of ups and downs in it. I didn't personally play it, but I looked at some reviews before recording this. The reviews on Steam are generally good, but overall there's a sense that the game started off good. The first 2 to 3 episodes were good, and then it went kind of downhill. People felt like it was rushed. The characters didn't fully develop. The plot twist didn't really make sense. Things just felt forced near the end. So hopefully having 2 years to work on it gives them enough time to fully flesh everything out, but I'm excited about that. Second thing, Coteries of New York. This is made by Draw Distance. This is a visual novel style adventure that's going to boast several playable characters across several clans. Each character is going to have unique disciplines with ethical approaches to issues and their own unique dialogue lines, and character-oriented quests that are going to allow you to create your own band, your own coterie through NPCs and interactions with those NPCs. It's going to feature hunger, humanity, and masquerade as like gameplay features that you have to manage and influence throughout the course of the game. You awaken as a newly embraced vampire in New York. You'll meet other vampires, thin bloods, ghouls, humans, and more. And you'll build your coterie and test your humanity. They're already talking about post-launch support through new standalone stories, and the game is scheduled to be released later this year. Now my head goes to the sort of, I forget the name of it, but the mage and the vampire, There Will Be Blood or We Are Blood or something like that, that came out earlier this year or last year. I can't really remember. I really didn't like that game at all. Some people did. It really didn't do anything for me. It was awful to trudge through. The writing was terrible. The characters were like kind of annoying. I don't know. Hopefully it's good. I'll try it out because it's a World of Darkness thing, but the previous sort of visual novel thing really didn't do much for me. Now that was more of like a text in the literal sense, like your cell phone. I don't know why I just did this with my hands. Your cell phone was the device through which you reacted and received information, and this is going to have character artwork and branching dialogues and things like that. So it's definitely more fleshed out than that. But the previous one kind of made me question stuff. And talking about post-launch support before the game is even out, hopefully it's good and warrants it, but we'll see. Bloodlines 2 got delayed, which I don't think anyone is upset about. Although Vampire will still launch in 2020, we've decided to value quality over making the Q1 launch window, they said. There's a responsibility to avoid some of the issues that plagued the first game, which was launched too early. Yes, that game was underfunded, understaffed, undertested. I'm glad. Take as much time as you want. I just want the game to be good. I feel like the World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade, has a lot to offer, a lot of lore, a lot of interesting tidbits and characters and sort of cultural dynamic. And if you can encapsulate that in a great game, I think there's a whole new audience that would love some type of media like this. If the game is good. If the game is garbage, then again, it's, okay, well, those weird people role-playing as vampires all day and LARPing. But if the game is good, then all of a sudden new people get on board, new people start role-playing, new people explore this really intricate and in-depth world that is the World of Darkness and all it has to offer. So take all the time that you want Take all the time that you want. Over the last few months, it became clear that to stick to our original date, we would risk repeating that mistake of launching too early. We won't do that. In the end, everyone working on this game wants to offer you the best Bloodlines 2 we can. Please, for the love of God, be good. Okay, now, Earthblood.
As a result of deforestation, oxygen in the atmosphere is diminished at the brink of extinction, putting us in a vital emergency.
This is scheduled for a Q2, Q3 2020 release. It's a third-person, single-player action role-playing game. You take on the role of Cahal, an eco-terrorist werewolf. You're going to explore various locales throughout the American Northwest and also the Penumbra. You'll receive side quests, unique challenges, main mission stuff. It's supposed to be a more linear focus story instead of a super wide open narrative. You'll be able to shapeshift into a wolf, a human, or a werewolf, and you'll perform certain gameplay actions in each of those forms. The wolf is going to be for like stealth and for sneaking and for crawling through narrow passages. The human is going to be for interacting with machines and humans, and you're also like undercover. People don't know you're a werewolf in human form. And the werewolf is going to be based almost solely on combat from what I can gather. Now, combat, you have unique skill trees and archetypes with their own strengths and weaknesses that you can explore and flesh out your character in. And in E3, the critics kind of generally praised it, so that's exciting. And of course, the big bad, you'll be going up against the vampire-run Pentex Corporation. Now, there hasn't really been a werewolf the apocalypse game, so I'm interested in this. Hopefully it's good. The last thing I want to talk about is Modiphius announcing miniatures for Vampire the Masquerade. Now, there was a set of miniatures way back in the day from Raul Protha, I believe. I thought they looked bad. And it was basically one male, one female for each of the clans, and then some antagonists. And I just thought they looked bad. And miniatures are a storytelling aid, but in my head, they kind of necessitate a battle map or a grid to use the miniatures on. And storytelling games don't really lend themselves well to literal diagrams of where the characters are unless you're playing like Street Fighter, the role-playing game. Otherwise, it's more theater of the mind and more fluid, and that's how the rule set really works best, in my opinion. But as a storytelling aid, hey, if people want miniatures, they can get miniatures. No sweat off my back. I don't really care. It's scheduled to be coming out in spring of 2020. You're going to expect signature characters based around the Bloodlines, sets based around the Anarch and the Camarilla, the Sabbat, some of the generic clans, as well as the Second Inquisition. They also mentioned bystanders and plenty of antagonists. And that's straight up from Modiphius. So they do have other lines of miniatures, which are pretty nice sculpts. Fallout and Star Trek Adventures are the two that come off the top of my head. But yeah, it's exciting. There's basically going to be a World of Darkness game every year for the next 2 years. So I'm happy about that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Very quick update. Peace.